Hey, this is Kirk.
And this is Byrd, the Kirk and Byrd show, coming to you from the DMV, specifically the 703. And this episode, we're going to talk about the top recruits in the DMV. What you got, Kirk?
Well, we're going to start off with the Commonwealth of Virginia because we're both from Virginia, and we've probably got more listeners here. I think there's some exciting things about recruiting in the state of Virginia. So the number one recruit, who's a 5-star, he's a big, he's a 4-star, but he's ranked high, and that's Zach Rice, big offensive tackle out of Lynchburg, Liberty Christian Academy. He's the top player in the state. I think the kid that you know about, different services, Sean Murphy, the linebacker, who's going to Alabama. Zach Rice is still undecided. But Rusty, what I see basically is some trends, and that is, rivals in 247 rank differently, as well as Tom Lemming and those things. But I can tell you that North Carolina is cleaning up in the state of Virginia. They are doing extremely well. I want to say they have 4 or 5 of the top 25. And we see the trend continuing, the best players leaving the state. We've got, I'm looking at the verbals: Alabama, North Carolina, Clemson, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Gunnar Givens out of Lord Botetourt. Good get for Virginia Tech. That's a big one. He's a top 10 player. And then we've got Notre Dame, Arizona State, North Carolina again, Virginia Tech with Ramon Brown out of Manchester. That may be, this is rivals, there's different ones, but Virginia's got somebody. North Carolina's got another one. So, North Carolina is going nuts in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Penn State is not. They usually do. They're not. They have the number one player, Maryland. So my thoughts, Rusty, are we're continuing to see the top kids go out of the state. Chris Beatty, who is a Virginia guy, he's from Virginia. He's got a connection at Pitt. They were doing extremely well. They've got a guy out of Lansdowne.
That's where he used to coach.
Yeah, Beatty, yeah. Well, he did well at West Virginia.
I think he was, wasn't he, what's his name, coach? He was
Percy Harvin?
Percy Harvin's coach.
Yeah, pretty special player.
Yeah.
But the other thing that stands out to me, Rusty, is how much Virginia has changed since when you and I went to school, all the way up until like the late 90s. I'll give you an example. You're talking the 33rd player for rivals is Brian Courtney from Independence, Indy, here in Ashburn. He's going to Florida State. The 33rd player in Virginia is going to Florida State. The 33rd player in Virginia from 87 to 97 was going to VMI or JMU or Richmond. And that's what
But okay, hold on. Let's just take this. I don't want to get off topic too much, but yes, you're right. The 33rd player in Virginia was going to ODU, Liberty, whatever. But guess what? Like, maybe that's part of Florida State's problem. I mean, like, if they're recruiting, I'm not saying this kid can't play, but Florida State, like, it's not what it used to be. Maybe their recruiting just isn't where it used to be. I don't know. I'm just pointing that out when we talk about the fact that this kid, he didn't just get a Power 5 offer. He's got one of the traditional great programs in college football. But just throwing that out there. But
more the point I was making, though, is where he is in the rankings.
Right.
Florida State. I mean, in 247, 24/7 sports, the 59th player in Virginia has committed to East Carolina, which is an FBS team.
Yeah.
We've got we got a 54th player, South County, wide receiver going to East Carolina.
East Carolina, yeah.
Yeah. 44th, Harrison St. Germain from Westfield. Your guy, Jeremiah Davis, he's tight end. He's going to Virginia Tech.
Going to Tech, yeah.
Yeah, the 44th player in Virginia, did not do that. Battlefield's got someone going to Duke. So that's the big thing that UVA looks to be there. I'd say just about right there where Tech is, and there's there's a number of 757 kids, as always.
But the number one kid in the state of Virginia is Sean Murphy from right here in Manassas, and he's going to Alabama.
And Zach Rice is not decided yet, but he is trending to go out of state. I know Tech or UVA would love to have him, but there's a Nansemond Suffolk Academy, which is a private school, has someone going to North Carolina, and North Carolina is just cleaning up.
Yeah. And they've kind of done that. We went back 30 years ago when we were playing in school. My sophomore year, two senior offensive tackles for us, Carl Watts and Creighton Incomenis, who's now the current head coach at Bethel. They both went to UNC. Remember, in that time frame, you had them go, and they both were starters at UNC. You had Bill Boyd out of Kickertan.
Walter Bailey was a starter.
Doxy Jordan, Dwight Hollier, Walter Bailey. I mean, they were coming in.
Carl Marcus played there.
Carl went to East Carolina or Wake Forest. I know he transferred from one to the other. But yeah. Okay. So Carolina, they've done this. And then Des Newsome, he was there last year. He is from Hampton High School. His dad played at Virginia Tech. And so he did very well at Carolina. It would have been nice if he had gone to Virginia Tech.
So, I wanted to point out that, we want to talk about some kids. Carter Sweezy, number 52 for Stonebridge. We talked about him when we were there.
Yep.
He's going to JMU. And Price Williams is a kid from Woodgrove in Loudoun County that has been offered by, I think he's been offered by Richmond, and his dad went to Richmond. And I think Price Williams Sr., I'm guessing, I think he went to York in York County, York High School. He lives out used to live out in Raspberry Falls. I know him from the technology industry. And then also I know that, and I wanted to have this, I did my research, the quarterback from Stonebridge is getting looked at by Richmond. I looked up Richmond's verbal offers. So how about your the kid at Liberty, or what's it's all right, I can't see it. Don't worry about it. The Freedom Woodbridge, he's young, isn't he, the quarterback?
No, he's a senior.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, Davis is a senior, but this is he started last year as a junior, but he had a bad injury. I think he broke his foot. So he's a senior, and he's grown a little bit. He's they listed at 5'11". I think he's about 175, 180. Tremendous amount of speed. I mean, I remember I've been watching, coached him in track, but seeing him go against my son Justin since they were like 4 and 5 years old, and just a tremendous football player, a real student of the game. His father played wide receiver at Virginia State, and I don't know where he's falling in any type of recruiting, but I think he's not just an athlete. I think he can play quarterback in college and at the Division I level. I just hope he gets that opportunity.
Yeah. So let's switch over to Maryland. So Maryland is not as strong as Virginia. Okay. They're not as strong with the number of players and how high the players are ranked. And, I would, it's funny because I should have looked it up, but St. Francis in Baltimore has 7 of the top 10 players. They've got to be nationally ranked.
They usually are. Did you see the documentary on HBO about them?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. That's a great watch, man. St. Francis is the coach, who was their coach for a number of years, I think maybe if not multi-millionaire, billionaire.
Well, the other thing
who invested into their program in those kids.
Yeah, the other thing that you notice about Maryland is it's dominated by Baltimore in the private schools. The Montgomery County schools and Prince George's County schools used to have a lot of players at the top, and that's changing because of the private schools and the things that they could do. So Penn State has got 3 of the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
And their kids are like Virginia. They're going to South Carolina, Penn State, Oklahoma, BC. Virginia Tech's got one from St. Francis. Maryland, they're doing okay.
Yeah. Well, I know one of the top recruits. He's only a junior, but DeMathis Jason Moore. He's 6'5", 255. He's a tremendous athlete. His brother, Justin Moore, was the All-Met basketball player of the year 2 years ago, and has started at Villanova. He's a junior now, but started since his freshman year. Jason is a beast, and I mean he's been recruited by everybody. Alabama, LSU. I mean, as a freshman, Maryland was like, "Come on, we'll take."
Yep. Well, that continues to be a state where Maryland struggles. Maryland's always recruited Pennsylvania, New Jersey, better than the state. They're making inroads, but I would just say that the Baltimore area is doing extremely well. So DC. Now, when we go to DC, we realize a lot of those kids live in the suburbs, but it's a light year for them. St. John's, they're usually loaded. They've got a cornerback going to Stanford. They've got an edge pass rusher going to SMU. That's Isaiah Smith. And then Gonzaga has a tight end going to Georgia Tech. And then the 4th player is going to Buffalo. So it's a light year for the in-city schools like St. John's. St. John's is usually absolutely loaded. Then you've got, the Gonzaga, so DC's not as quite as loaded. I know that next year is a strong year for Virginia. And want to mention Brett Griffiths, the quarterback for Broad Run, I believe I thought he reclassified. I think he is a senior. He's 6 foot and 195, and he's going to Wake Forest, where his brother is. So very good quarterback, very level-headed, very good. And, there's some other players out there that are going to get FCS offers. There's a number of players out there. So,
also on that, you may not see him on that list, but Jamie Kaiser, is quarterback for Bishop Ireton. He's got offers, but he's a great basketball player, but he's a very skilled football player as well. And he's had offers, I believe, from University of Maryland and Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, he just suffered an injury in the game last week. They'll need to give him a little more protection, but I think his future is very bright as well, if football was the thing that he decided to do. But you never know. Basketball, football, the kid's got a lot of talent. So he's another one to look out for this next year. I'd say he's going to be one of those athletes that's very special.
Right. And evidently something that has popped up on us is there's a program in Chester, Virginia, It's life. It's like Life Skills Academy. I get it mixed up with the Liberty Christian, but they've got a number of kids that have offers out there. You know,
I got one for you that I want to. Can you tell me if you've seen him play? But he's in that top 10. Bryce Duke, the running back out of Tuscarora. I think he has committed to Virginia Tech.
yeah, I've not seen him play. I want to go see him play because Tuscarora is right down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is Riverside. I think Stonebridge is at Riverside
Oh, okay.
tomorrow. So I may go see that. But
Yeah, check him out. I know he was at their camp this summer, and he walked away from there with an offer, and I believe that he committed as soon as they
he's
made the
committed.
offer.
Bryce Duke has committed. I would, the running back out of Manchester is more highly rated than Bryce Duke. I've asked around about Bryce Duke. I heard he's a very solid player. Don't know that he has world beater speed. I've not seen him play, so I don't want to comment. I've not even watched him on film, but I hear he's legit. Might not be surprised if Mr. Bryce Duke, 5'11", 200, he could be a classic whip or even bulk. 5'11", 200, probably bulk up and play maybe Mike linebacker. But yeah, so we just want to there's other kids out there as the season goes on, Rusty, and as we talk to more coaches, which it's kind of hard to talk to these coaches right now, but we're going to find out more about the guys that are going to be going to William and Mary, they're going to be going to JMU, that are going to and
I want to follow some of the kids right there that are coming to the DMV if they're coming from outside the area. So I want to know, hey, who's Georgetown recruiting? University of Maryland. Well, who are the kids going to Catholic? I want those. We need to give those schools some love too.
Absolutely, and
Bowie State and Howard. Can't forget my HBC. Towson, right? Yep.
Towson, Bowie State, Howard, Hampton. Got a lot of programs. Virginia Union, Virginia State,
Morgan State. Yep.
Yeah, and we know. I call it CIAA because we're old school, but we know how many great players have come out of those schools, and so yeah, and Norfolk State as well. And with our connections, we'll know a lot about the HBCUs with in Hampton Roads as well as the guys that are going to Union and Virginia State because we both personally know so many people. But we will be looking to keep on top of this, and I'm going to talk. We met some assistants last time you and I went to the Stonebridge game. We met one of the Broad Run assistants, so we will stay up with that. But
yeah, I know Mike Jeter. He's on the Stonebridge staff. Another Virginia athlete that went to UNC. Yeah, his son Deuce is a really good player for Stonebridge. But yeah, we can get some of those coaches on, definitely.
Eli Mason looks really good. That's Eddie Mason's son. I'm sure he gets sick of hearing that. Yeah, Stonebridge definitely has some kids that will get offers because, the boards, the recruiting boards, who gets who. So a lot of times your JMUs and your Richmonds and your William and Mary's, Tech is like, or UVA or Penn State or Maryland's like, you know what? You just missed our cutoff. We had our top 25 or top 28 kids. You were 2 or 3 slots away. It's happened. Leon Mazzell was a player at Virginia Tech that Jim Cavanaugh loved. Phoebus Phantom. He just said, I talked to Cavanaugh about him years ago. He said, we loved them. It was a numbers game. We could not offer them. And, there's been other players, where they begged Frank Beamer, to take a kid. And John Schumann, in one of my interviews, was talking about, one of the guys that went to BC and was a tight end and is an incredible player, begged Frank Beamer to take him, but it was one of those numbers types games. So those will roll out. The season is, the high school season is getting going. And I don't know if you heard about it, but Phoebus is not playing Heritage, and it's had nothing to do with the incident at Heritage. So I just want to let you know.
Why is that? I didn't know that. I didn't know. What happened?
It's postponed. So it's supposedly COVID. And I just found out there's another game that's postponed. So yeah, we can wrap up. Yeah, we will get more information. We want to give a shout out to the local kids. You know, Phoebus has some monsters who are not seniors, Rusty, that are going to be big time recruits.
Yeah.
I need to talk to some of my folks, you know, down there that are in the know. Virgil Richardson, Mr. Phoebus High School, knows the Peninsula District. Phoebus has got a kid that plays wide receiver that is really, really good. And then they've got a really good, I believe it's a linebacker. And I know those guys are getting a lot of mail and a lot of interest. We didn't have a chance to get into 2023. Alex Birchmeyer from Broad Run High School here in Ashburn is the consensus #1 player. He's one of the top 3 offensive linemen in the country. He is already committed to Penn State. There you go. James Franklin again. And he is just a huge human being. I think he's going to do well up there. And he can play. You can't coach 6'7", 275, 280. And he's a junior. And so we will get more into the 2023. But, you know, we ask everybody out there, you high school players, please follow us on Twitter. It's at the Kirk and Byrd. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. And our podcasts are right now currently on Amazon and Spotify. We'll be on Google very soon, and Apple we are working on. So let's wrap that up, Rusty.
And I would ask you all, hey, correct us or give us those names. Tell us, fill us in on the kids we haven't heard of or haven't seen, because that's why we're doing the show. We want to spotlight those athletes. You know, tweet us, let us know, and we'll. In fact, I challenge some of our listeners: go ahead on out there and give us your top 10 from the DMV. All right, let us know. Yeah,
we're on Twitter at the Kirk and Byrd, BYRD, not Bird like Larry Bird, the classic Bird, the way Bird is supposed to be spelled.
No.
So Hudson Hawk, Rusty Byrd, and I are going to sign off. And once again, we will be updating much more. And Rusty, let's do a little teaser. It's the 23rd of September. We're going to have a basketball preview coming up real soon. We're going to have some really nice guests for that. All right.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right.
Kirk and Byrd out.
Peace.